Okay, happy Thanksgiving week to you all. Hope you're enjoying a terrific week. Maybe you have a long weekend or a week off from work and the opportunity to watch some NFL football on Thanksgiving Day with family, friends, a lot of food, and some wine and spirits. We have a basketball game against Notre Dame and Alabama. But we're looking towards, this is a preview for the Michigan State game in East Lansing this coming Saturday. And this is a game, I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of pissed off at the vibe surrounding this game on behalf of Rutgers fans and people who write about and cover the team, talking about how this is a game we don't have to win. There's nothing in it for us. It might be better if we lose. I can't stand that. I hate tanking in the NFL too. Tanking is a loser mentality. For the possibility of getting a higher draft pick that you may or may not hit on. And the immortal words of Herm Edwards, you play to win the game, you compete, and the chips fall where they may, and if you're doing your job, you'll be able to get a good pick anywhere within the first round. I don't like the fact that if we lose, Michigan State probably gets a bowl game in Detroit, and we're heading to Phoenix for the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. Those of you who remember 2005, the Insight Bowl. I think it was the Insight Bowl, which we lost. Concern about injuries. We already have a bunch of injuries. We're down to our fifth. I don't know. We're down 4 tight ends. But Michigan State has a lot of injuries too. I don't want to throw out those platitudes. Everybody's hurt. New York area teams, whether it's professional or Rutgers, seems to have bad luck in the injury department. Nonetheless, Michigan State's literally missing their whole secondary, just like, was it UCLA? I think it was UCLA. USC was missing their entire secondary. Didn't seem to matter when they ran us out of the stadium. So, you play to win, get us to 7-5, get to a bowl game, 8-5, seasons borderline salvageable, considering the high expectations of a lot of returning seniors, especially on defense, a new quarterback who actually is a competent passer of the football and has good escapability and running skills. Boy, you would have said that we would have had a much better quarterback. You would have had to think at least that's worth at least 2 games. Instead of being 6-6 and 7-6. 9-3, 10-2. Why couldn't that be in the cards? But just like the Jets, you get your quarterback, have a lot of injuries, your defense takes a big step back, and oh yeah, they're not as good as you thought they were. And that's why you wind up 6-5 going against a team that's 5-6 and is vying for a bowl game, most likely in their home state at home. So this game is, we're 1 point underdog. So like a lot of our games, it's a toss-up. On paper, I'll tell you, looking at the statistics on paper, you would think that Rutgers didn't stand a chance to lose. And we'll get through a lot of those numbers in a second. But I think one of the reasons why we're an underdog and why maybe the statistics don't tell the whole story, Michigan State had a tougher schedule. They have the kind of schedule that we're going to have next year. So they played and lost to Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan, Indiana, Illinois. By the way, Illinois beat them 38-16. We were much more competitive. And I don't know if you can draw anything out of that, but you might be able to. And they beat Iowa, something that we've struggled with the past several years. So I've watched a few Michigan State games, Boston College, they lost. They seem to start off well. They're going to try and be physical, be active up front. Usually are ahead, doing well in the first half, and then they give it up in the second half, which is ironic because when we come out in the second half, the third quarter, we're always flat. So we're similar in that we both stink, in the third quarter. But we have other similarities. We don't get turnovers. Fortunately, we don't turn the ball over a lot. That's a good thing. But we also don't get a lot of turnovers, and neither does Michigan State. Both teams bad at getting to the quarterback, getting the quarterback on the ground to pressures. Michigan State had a little better success past week against Purdue. Started to blitz more. Ethan, when it comes to blitzing, his completion percentage, I don't know what it is, next to last in the Big Ten, whatever it is, 54%. We all know why that's inaccurate. We had 5 or 6 drop passes. Again, he's really a 60% quarterback whose receivers just betray him quite a bit. Nonetheless, under pressure, when he's blitzed, 49%. However, our offensive line, patchwork as it is, has done a really good job the past couple of weeks giving up no sacks. I feel that we're going to do a pretty good job. Against Illinois, it was a very active front and a high sack rate, 9%. We did a good job all game. Third quarter, you saw them trying to step up the pressure. Ethan had to rush some passes. And you were like, oh, here it comes. But they held up. I think we may see a little bit of that against Michigan State, but not as much because Illinois' front four, much better. Both teams, not great in the red zone. Time of possession, very similar. We both want to kind of control the pace, control the game. Pass defense, kind of similar. We give up the same amount of pass completion. Sack percentage is similar. We have some advantages. Michigan State will make more mistakes and turn the ball over a lot more than we will. But we do some things that aren't great. We've gone through this 1,000 times this year, how we struggle against mobile quarterbacks. Hayden Childs is kind of an athletic mobile quarterback who actually has a higher pass percentage when he's blitzed and flushed out of the pocket. Kind of like Kyron Drones a little bit. As a pure passer, he doesn't concern me all that much. But if you don't get him to the ground, you don't disrupt him, you don't get in his face, and you allow him to make a play on 3rd and 11 when you stop them on the first 2 downs, that's going to be a problem. That and the fact that we give up almost 5 yards per carry on the rush, which is next to last in the Big Ten, and not that Michigan State has a daunting rushing attack. And an old familiar face from Rutgers, K'Ron Adams. I feel that if we don't give up those inexplicable chunk yards in the rushing game, we should be okay. So let's get to some stats to compare the two teams and where the strengths and weaknesses are. Points per game were very similar. 25 for Rutgers. Actually, not very similar. Rutgers actually does a much better job. 25 points per game, number 79 in the country. Michigan State, 17.8 points per game. That's 122nd. So they want to play like Rutgers basketball has played the past few years, play ugly. Going to struggle on offense, hope to play enough defense, and if you get ugly up and muck up the game, you win some in the end. First year, Jonathan Smith, probably, expectations were just to get to a bowl game. And they might do that if they win against Rutgers. But their offense has definitely been struggling. Yards per game, Rutgers 373, which is 73rd in the country. Michigan State, once again, ranked only 122nd, 330 yards. We can't allow that to happen against Michigan State like we did against Illinois. Illinois, time of possession for the game, we doubled them. But they were really efficient and made big plays, and we have to stop the big plays with Aiden Childs going off schedule. Here's another significant difference, points per play. We're 89th in the country. Michigan State, 122nd. So if we manage them well enough where they can't make big plays on offense and the minimum amount of opportunities that they have, we should have a good opportunity to win. Yards per play, very similar. 5.2 for us, 5.0 for them. We're ranked 90th. They're ranked 103rd. We're not exactly lighting it up on average yards per play. Third down percentage, we're considerably better. As much as, we converted 41%, 53rd in the country. Michigan State, 35.82%, number 97. Don't let them continue drives. If you can keep them at their average, and we can get off the field and Nathan can make some plays and Kyle can get some chunk yards in the rushing game, we're going to have success. However, if we get to fourth down, Michigan State is number 38 in the country at 60%. And we convert at just under 48%. That's number 93. We've gone through our struggles on fourth down and play calling and situational football with the coaching staff. We won't get into that again. Red zone scoring, we both stink. We're at 79%. That's 102nd in the country. Michigan State, 78th in the country, ranked 109th. So if Michigan State gets in the red zone, we have to make some plays. And if we get into the red zone, we're going to have to finish some drives. That's football 101. We both want to be able to run the ball. We're a little higher percentage. We run it at about just under 54% a game, which is 53rd in the country. We're not exactly Army, but almost. In Michigan, 50%. That's 88th. Yards per rush. Here's where we have opportunities and where we can't allow Michigan State and K'Ron Adams to have success. We average about 4.4 to 76. We're not Jinty from Boise State. We're not going to average 10 yards of carry. We're going to grind you down. We're going to drag you for 3-4 yards on a particular rush or a carry. Michigan State only averages 3.3 yards. It's 119th. Again, keep them at their average. Get off the field. We have really good opportunities to win. Defense, I don't care who we're missing. Football is all about blocking and tackling. We're going to have to tackle. We saw last week against Illinois how, once again, our tackling betrayed us. I still don't even know what happened on that fourth down play after the botched timeout on the 58-yard field goal attempt against Illinois. It looked like there were prevent 4 guys standing around the 20-yard line, and nobody even made an attempt to tackle Bryant. All right, nonetheless, we're not going to go back there. Pass. So, we talked about Ethan's passing completion percentage about 54%. It's really probably closer to 60. That ranks us 124th. Aiden Childs just under, he's 59.5%. That's 86th. Our wide receiver is going to be in East Lansing, probably going to be cold. We're going to have to catch the ball. Just catch the ball. If we start dropping passes and that impedes our ability to continue drives or to shift momentum, it's going to be a problem. It's not like Michigan State has this vaunted passing attack. They don't. But we have to make plays. Yards per pass, we only average 6.8. That's number 94. Michigan State, a little better, 7.3. That's 61st in the country, so they want to get it downfield a little more. Passing yards per game, very similar. Michigan State, 71st. We're 76th. So the production is very similar. Here's where we're better, and we're much better. And if we can get some turnovers, that bodes well for us. We don't turn the ball over a lot. Ethan's done a good job. Interception percentage, we're 29th in the country, 1.89%. Michigan State on 116th. I want to say Aiden Childs has 16 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Force them into mistakes. So get off the field on third down. Keep them at their average rush, yards per rush, and get a turnover in the passing game. We stand a good chance. Here's another opportunity where we do very well. Now, again, you have to consider the competition. Nonetheless, quarterback sack percentage, 4.5% for us. That's 39th. That's pretty good. Michigan State, 9.61%. That's 121st in the country. Get some pressure. Again, last game against Illinois, every time we almost sack the quarterback and have a guy like Luke Altmaier at Illinois or Aiden Childs at Michigan State, these guys are going to escape. If you don't get them down, you leave open the possibility of them making a play when you had it stopped. Can't stand that. Happens all the time. We're going to have to disrupt them. Here's where Michigan State's much better, and that's in the field goal kicking game. They hit 89%. That's 19th in the country. As good as Jay Patel is, he's only at 67% this year. That might be a volume thing. It's 101st. Turnover margins, we're pretty good. We don't get the turnovers, but we don't turn it over either. We're 49th in the country. Michigan State, 117th. We don't make a lot of mistakes on penalties. And we make some really dumb ones at the worst times, and it happened against Illinois with some phantom interference calls. Nonetheless, we're 12th in the country. Michigan State, 74th. And when it comes to the amount of yards, which means we're not getting a lot of major penalties, personal foul penalties, we're 38 yards per game. That's 7th in the country. That's damn good. Michigan State's 99th. So, time of possession, both very similar. We're 31st in the country, Michigan State, 36th in the country. You know what we want to do. We want to control the pace. We want to run it, although our running game much more productive than Michigan State's. But philosophically, they want to do, we're both real similar. We both want to do the same things. We want to play defense, control the ball, and control the pace, but we don't always succeed at that. And then on defense, we're very similar. Pass completion percentage, Michigan State 68th with 73rd. Passing yards per game on defense. We leave a little bit to be decided. We give up some in the passing game. 254 yards a game. That's 103rd. Michigan State, here's where they shine a little bit. Offensive line and Nathan and the wide receivers are going to have to do their job. Michigan State 61st. I don't see this as a game where Ethan gets 250 yards a game, but if he does, we win. Sack percentage. This is on defense now. We're 106th. Michigan State 102nd. It's like 4%. Takeaways, turnovers, neither one of us is very good. Interception percentage, neither one of us is very good for obvious reasons. And when it comes to ranking total penalties, it's kind of a surprise. Overall, on defense, we're considering all the bad interference calls against us. We're still 30th in the country. Michigan State is 130th. So if we can get a ball, throw a ball up there to draw a pass interference, Michigan State makes mistakes. We saw in the first half against Illinois. Illinois was, they were uncharacteristically making a lot of mistakes, a lot of penalties, and not an accident that we were leading and controlling the game at that point. And time of possession were both very similar. We're 31st in the country. Michigan State's 36th. That's on defense. Rush per play, we're terrible. Next to last in the Big Ten, 107th in the country. Michigan State, 35th. It's going to be Michigan State's run defense against Kyle Monangai. They're going to be able to stop Kyle on certain downs. But will Kyle be able to wear them down and break those tackles and drag those tacklers for those extra yards to put us in the position to extend the series? That's going to be a good matchup. Michigan State's run defense against Kyle Monangai. Points per game by the defenses were similar. We're ranked 70th in the country at 26.5. And Michigan State, 27. Virtually the same. They're ranked 77th. Yards per game, we're 69th. Michigan State's 40th. So they're kind of stingy. Points per play. 76th in the country, 93rd for Michigan State. The more we keep them out of the red zone and out of scoring opportunities, the better chance we have to win, no matter how ugly the game is. They're not a high-flying offense. They're not USC. They're not UCLA. They're not even Illinois. We have to keep them out of the red zone. Both teams stink on third downs. We're 95th in the country. On defense, this is. And Michigan State, 104th. So we can extend drives. And Michigan State's not good on third down on either side of the ball. If we can do well on third down offense and defensively, we stand a good chance. Both teams' fourth down defense not good. We're 98th, 61%. Michigan State, 65%, is 111th. So if we get in a fourth down situation, four down territory, don't get too cute. Make the play and extend the drive. Red zone defense. This was probably the biggest surprise to me. And this bodes well for us. Our defense, 79%. It's 32nd in the country, red zone defense. Michigan State, 86.8%. That's 92nd. If we get in the red zone, score. Don't let Michigan State shut you down because they've not been good at it this year. So when we look at what we have to do, we have to convert on third down. If we go in four down territory, you have to convert on fourth down. You have to hold Michigan State to their average yards per carry. Let them make the mistakes, take advantage of those mistakes, and play to our averages in red zone offense and defense. All right, let's get to some individual stats that might have some significance or not. So quarterback comparison, kind of similar, especially when it comes to yards. Athan's 186 of 341, 55%. 2,302 yards, 16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Aiden Childs, 179 for 300, 59%, a little higher on the percent. 2,265 yards. It's 37 yards less than Ethan. But you have to be aware of him making plays with his legs, as you do with Ethan. He had some big runs against Illinois. 12 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. So you see what you have with Nathan Childs. He has the athleticism, the ability to make the play, but doesn't always do that. We manage him. We have good opportunities to win. Running game. We have the advantage here despite Michigan State's stout run defense. Kyle's 225 carries, 1,150 yards, 12 touchdowns. That's 4 more than he had last year. He needs 113 yards to surpass the 1,263 yards that he had last year. He has 4 more touchdowns, so anything he adds on Saturday will be the cherry on top of the cake. Kayron Adams, ex-UMass and Rutgers guy. 124 carries, 580 yards, 4.7. Not bad. No touchdowns, however. So he seems like between the 20s, he might get his yards, but he's not a clutch back. And then Nathan Carter, 109 carries, 452 yards, 4.1 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. So the rushing game for Michigan State, not super productive. We have opportunities there. Do not give up chunk yards to 2 running backs who are kind of average. Wide receivers, you know what our guy is a Dimir Ian and KJ Dove. Dimir 53, 683, 4 touchdowns, 13 yards per catch. Ian Strong 33 for 508, 15.4, 4 touchdowns. And then KJ Dove 21 for 354, 17 yards per catch. Our big play guy, he probably should have more big plays and didn't drop the ball in a touchdown. It was interesting watching. If you ever get an opportunity to watch Locked On Spartans, the guy Matt who does that show, it's pretty entertaining. I always watch him when I get a chance. But it's interesting seeing their perspective on our wide receivers that are not great. And maybe statistically they don't resonate, but potential for these guys to make big plays against you is pretty good. It's just a matter of holding on to the ball and executing when we need to. Michigan State, Montre Foster, 46 catches, 588 yards, 12.8 yards per catch, 2 touchdowns. Nick Marsh, 39 catches, 636. Their big play guy, 16.3 yards per catch and 3 touchdowns. Manageable. I mean, not too daunting. You can say the same thing about Michigan State receivers that they say about us. In the end, we can't struggle against Aiden Childs. That kind of quarterback more comfortable throwing on flushed out and when blitzed than not. And we can't give up chunk yards in the rushing game. Even though we give up almost 5 yards per carry, this is kind of a rushing game by Michigan State that doesn't have the kind of guys that are going to take it to the house. We have to manage them. They're going to get some tough yards. But we have opportunities in the turnover game, in the running game, in the playing mistake-free football penalty game, that if we can stay away from making mistakes, giving up the chunk play in the running game, and just executing what we've been doing offensively in the past several weeks, getting a better balance between passing and running, maybe pass, run instead of run, pass. I know this coaching staff going against Michigan State and the cold of East Lansing, they're probably going to want to run it a lot. Nonetheless, if it comes down to a kick, late in the game and it's Michigan State, they have an opportunity to win this game, but I think as a 1-point underdog, as long as we don't go in with the mentality of we have nothing to gain here and we play to win the game, we should do well. If we punt the ball and we just want to come out of it in good enough shape to make it to Arizona, we're going to lose. Hopefully that's not the case. Everybody enjoy your Thanksgiving. Enjoy food, family, football, wine, spirits. Rutgers basketball, good luck to them. We will see you the next time, and have a spectacular Thanksgiving.